Welcome, fans, once again to KB's Unemployed show, the only show on the internet where you can sit at your job and watch a guy who doesn't have one anymore. What will KB do today? Change guitar strings, perhaps? Grade papers? Worry about his future? Who knows? The only thing we know is it's guaranteed to make you question your intelligence, simply because you're watching it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the unemployed lifestyle of KB.
The pods are now open.
Look at my cat. Look at my cat. Look.
I like to study about the world cities and airports.
KB brings just great instincts. That's what you love about him.
Oh, that boy ain't right.
If Andy yearns for Brenda and Brenda cares about Charlene, who pines for Andy, the three of them form one of these. Kara.
What is it, threesome?
No.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Lesbians. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
I don't mind a bit of bush.
37 in a row?
Shut the up, okay? Shut the up.
Do you want to start drinking?
Yes.
You know I'm gonna have to go for 420, Bob.
Cheez-Its!
Light this candle.
He's right. Let's light this candle.
Light the candle.
Are you ready for it?
That candle is lit, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, I'd like to welcome you to KB's Unemployed show. We're still doing this because why? Because I'm still unemployed. And that is why we're still doing this. Although it's going to be a little bit different today because I have got a co-host. Well, I've got a co-host and a guest, if you will. So I'd like to bring in my co-host right now. He's not very talkative, but let's bring him in anyway. That would be Kenneth P. Bull and the Kenneth Cam. It is the first time I'm using the Kenneth Cam on this show, and that's where Kenneth likes to crash in the master bedroom. So let me just adjust this here. There we go. Well, that's not good. So that's where Kenneth crashes in the master bedroom. And so I thought I'd set up the Kenneth Cam and we can keep an eye on him and see what he's up to. He's probably just going to stare and look out the window. And eventually what he will do is he will probably yell at somebody and bark and, something like that will happen. But probably an Amazon driver, although we already got our Amazon package for the day, which was his dog food, by the way. So big show today. And I'm going to have a special guest joining me, as far as I know, another guy who found himself in radio and unemployed. So we'll talk to another guy who is an unemployed radio guy. And that would be Jon Arias over in Madison. He was a former colleague, and then one day he was gone. And we'll find out what he's been up to and ask him a few questions about how he handled unemployment. And that's pretty much for today. I've also got a couple of very fun things to run down. Of course, we always have what color is the sky on your planet. And today is going to be an audio-visual what color is the sky on your planet. So I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully you will too. And my top 5 list, KB's all-time top 5 worldwide, that we'll be running down a little bit later on, is my top 5 list is my top 5 favorite guitars that I own. I have 14 guitars, and so these would be my top 5 favorite of those 14. A couple of very interesting instruments in that mix. Kenneth, thoughts or comments on that, Kenneth? Kenneth? Looks like he's sleeping. That is not a really good co-host, if you ask me. But what we are going to do is we will go through all of that. I just recently found out that the Packers game is on Saturday night. So I will be out at a local establishment watching the game. And who knows, I might even just bring the phone out and run a special live edition of KB's Unemployed show on Saturday night during the Packer game, because what do you love to do when you're unemployed? You love to go to bars and drink. I don't have a cocktail today. I do have I was going to make a cocktail, but Sue and I started a New Year's resolution. Sue has always had one drink every single day. She always had just one. She never has more than one. She has one, and it's not really strong. And it's like her happy hour drink. And so we were talking around New Year's and said, you know what, we should give up drinking for New Year's. And we both agreed. And so we said, well, we won't do it on New Year's Eve because we go out, and we can't do it on New Year's Day because we don't go out till 2 a.m. So that would be New Year's Day. And then the second was a Friday. So we didn't want to quit on Friday. And then Saturday, of course, was a Saturday. So we didn't want to start our New Year's resolution on a Saturday. And then, of course, Sunday was the Packer game. So that brought us to yesterday to find out if we were going to start our, sobriety pledge for the year. Sue is a school teacher, K4. And so when I got done doing the show, I went downstairs last night. And she looked at me and she goes, "Is wine drinking?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I guess it is." And she said, "Oh, well, then I'm just going to blow off the whole," because it was hellish getting back to school today. So she said, "I'm just going to blow the whole thing off." Okay, fair enough. And so I said, if you're blowing it off, I'm blowing off. So we lasted all of about 16 hours on our New Year's resolution. But hey, that's what you do. But without further ado, this is probably going to be the most people that he has ever talked to in his entire life about being unemployed. Highly doubtful, but and bring him in from Madison, Wisconsin, a dear friend. We're going to get rid of Kenneth. A dear friend. We're going to add him to the stage right now. Jon Arias. Jon, how are you doing, my friend?
But it was a Friday, so we're going to start Friday, and then it was Saturday. We're going to start Saturday.
It was my mom. It was my wife's call.
That's really funny, man.
My wife did it.
You can't just like restart it and say, okay, we're going to take two. You just like, oh, we did it. We screwed up. We're done.
Oh, well, sure, you could, but then it's not really a New Year's resolution, is it? It would just be, oh, I'm going to quit drinking. So, Jon, thank you for agreeing to do this. So, as you know, are aware that I am unemployed, as you found yourself one time in the world of radio. And so I'm sitting here going, well, what do I do? Because my wife thinks I have to do something. So I told her I was starting my own show where I would talk to unemployed people. And it's hence the name, KB's Unemployed Show, which I think is absolutely sheer genius. So I reached out to you and I said, Jon, will you come on the show and talk to me about being unemployed? And you said, yeah, absolutely. So I have a couple of unemployed questions for you, Jon, because we worked in the media. And when you work in the media and you end up without a gig, there are people that I know that kind of lose their identity, because they just are so closely related to the personality that they were on the radio. But that didn't really happen to you, did it? You grew a ponytail.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, my timing, I had been growing the ponytail before I got let go, to be fair. Okay. That started in March of 2020 when, do you remember COVID? So.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
That happened. But yeah, so I let it go for 4 years. I didn't cut I got my hair trimmed once or twice. I think it was once. But I let that thing go for 4 years. And that the unemployment helped for sure. Like it made it easier to not want to get it cut. So yeah, now I don't know. Now it's short.
It's all short and nice.
Yeah, it's now short now, but yeah, man, I didn't know you were unemployed until I saw KB's Unemployed Show, because usually you get like a whole rundown on Twitter or whatever. How did it go down for you? Can I ask that?
Yeah, they came in and they said your services are no longer needed, basically. And I went, oh, okay. So I found myself out of a job. Now, lucky for me, I'm getting close to retirement age.
Okay.
So I've kind of talked my wife into the fact that I said, well, we could probably start claiming, Social Security, or we could start withdrawing money for our 401k and then just pray I die 2 years earlier. or 3 years earlier. But I mean, if I go before 70, she's going to have a nice payout. So that's all I really worry about is her, being unemployed. So yeah, my day is basically spent. I get up in the morning and I start looking for stuff to talk about on KB's Unemployed show, or I've got a couple of segments that I might be doing that I may work into the show because it's just all stream of consciousness. And we're up to 44 people, by the way. 44.
Oh, let's keep it. Can I retweet
I know.
something?
Hey, I don't care.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
It's on Twitter. Let me find it.
Yeah, it should be going live on Twitter.
Okay. Let me see if I can retweet that.
So
but,
I'm thinking a segment might be movies I watched while I got high today. Which would be a good unemployed thing. Songs I practiced on the guitar. But today I always do my top 5 things. Today is going to be a rundown of my list of my top 5 favorite guitars that I own. I have
guitars of what?
Guitars that I own.
Oh, guitars that you own. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I have I own 14 guitars between Drew, myself, and our buddy John. We probably have, I don't know, close to 30 guitars.
Wow.
And yeah, but this is the cool thing. We've got it all figured out with our wives that they don't know what guitars we own.
So what does that mean?
If I buy one,
okay,
I could go, she'd go, where'd you get that guitar? And I'll go, it's Drew's. Or if Drew buys one, where did you get that guitar? Oh, it's KB's. And they don't know because we all have so many, which was this great thing. Which brings me up to a question that I'm going to ask you, John. Are you into collectibles? Do you have any collectibles? Is there anything that you kind of ferret away at all? That would be weird.
Well, not guitars, but sports cards. Here's one I got right here. Tim Dillard.
Oh, Tim Dillard.
Yeah.
Yes.
30. Sorry about that. I'd say sports cards. I don't think I have any good sports cards around me though. But sports cards, like I got into that in 2018, and then that's when everything was like peaking, and you could sell anything for any amount of money, and it was wild.
Really?
Yeah. But I got a second year Jordan. I got a LeBron rookie. Those types of things. Yeah.
A LeBron rookie, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you been watching the Golden Touch on Netflix?
I watched a couple seasons. Yeah, I met Ken Golden at the National Sports Card Show this summer.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, hey, I watched the show. Can I take a picture?
Hey, well, he's a piece of work, but man, he dropped some coin.
Yeah.
He dropped some coin on some of those things. He went in and made it all. A guy had a I don't know, you would know this. What do they call him? A logo man card?
Okay, yeah. Yep.
That's would be what? It's the one where they get the logo off a game worn. Yeah, off a game worn jersey.
Yeah. Yep.
And some guy had a Wembayama logo man, which is like insane amount of money. And he went in and said, right now, if you want to sell it, I'll give you like $2 million. And then and Logan Paul, he bought his like Charizard. You don't collect Pokemons, do you?
I don't. I have when you start saying Pokemon names, I know
I don't know.
Pikachu and Charizard, and that's it. But Logan, Jake, one of them he's selling it now. Did you see that?
Yeah, he had it, and that was on this season. It was like the first episode of this season.
Wait, there's a new season?
Yeah, season 3.
Oh, well, I got to get on that. I didn't even know.
Oh, you have to get on that because what he uncovered was a Honus Wagner that they didn't even know existed. They thought people thought they had found every Honus Wagner, and there was a guy, I don't remember where it was, whose grandfather had it, and from those tobacco cards, he had all the Pittsburgh Pirates from that season. Every one of the Pirates that was in that packet, that tobacco product. And one of them was a Honus Wagner.
Crazy.
And they found it, and it's like, my God, this is going to be
$2 million.
5+ million.
Yeah.
And it was in pretty good shape, which is just like, that's crazy for a card. I mean, were you the ones that you collect, the ones that you go and look for? Do you go back and try and find guys that you grew up watching? Who was the guy that you liked the most?
Whenever I go, like if I go to garage sales, I'm always looking for like a find or whatever, but those don't exist anymore because the internet exists and eBay exists and it's too popular now. You'll never find like a hidden gem, or if you do, you're really darn lucky. But the guys, who do I collect? I will go buy a pack or a box. They come in these little blaster boxes at Target, but it's all trash now. It's just nothing's worth anything. The real stuff is that they sell to like the hobby boxes, and you have to get in on breaks, and it costs hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for a pack or a break. And it's not as cool as it used to be. I just collect Jordans. I'm looking for a 1989 Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie card, but the only way now, there's hundreds of thousands of them, KB. So it's not like I can't find one, but I want to get it out of a pack. I want to open a pack, see, look, I got my Griffey rookie. And I've been wanting to do that since I was 10 years old. So I have been buying packs of 1989 Upper Deck. They're like $15 each when I go to the National Sports Card Show every year when it's in Chicago. And I have never gotten a 1989 Ken Griffey Jr.
Really?
That's the only one I want.
I was one of those kids who had, and I remember having all these cards, right? When I was a kid, and my mom was every mom who got rid of them when I moved out of the house. I mean, at the time though, we're talking about in the late 70s or 80s when they probably disappeared. I somehow in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, maybe she just put them away somewhere and she hasn't told me yet, but I doubt it.
No,
but
you wouldn't have had to sell everything for retirement. You could just been employed and sold some cards.
Well, I know that I had a bunch of football cards. I'd never really collected baseball cards. Okay. Even though now baseball's my favorite sport that I watch. I watch more baseball than anything else. But I never really collected baseball cards. But I had basketball cards and I had football cards.
Okay.
A lot of football cards. Now, the oldest football cards I have, my mom found a couple when I was 4 years old. This is wild because the Packers, and I've showed these pictures and these cards to people at the Packers. I just showed pictures of them to Ed Policy because they used to have picture day when the photographers would come to take pictures of the football players for the cards. But in Green Bay, where I was living at the time, I'm 4 years old, you would go to the practice field, and it's the one on Oneida, and no one was ever around. Football wasn't that big. And they would have picture day on a Saturday, and you would go out and they'd pick you up and get your picture taken with them. So I have mine with Doug Hart, Leroy Caffey, and I'm trying to think, there's one more. I'm trying to think of the other one that I have, where they're holding me. And my mom found those cards from that year and then framed them and gave them to me. I don't know if they're worth anything or not, but it's pretty cool.
So you're in the card, like in the picture?
No. The picture of them holding me and then the card next to it. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And the reason I showed it to like Ed Policy and Mark Murphy was if the picture is taken facing west, so you can see Lambeau across the street. And that's when Lambeau was just a metal shell.
Okay.
And there's no facade. And you look and you can see the steps like a old college football stadium. You can see all the steps where the rows are going down. You could see right into it. It was just a metal shell.
That's crazy.
And I go, you got to see Lambeau. And they thought that was pretty cool. And they're like, we can't believe you do that. I said, you couldn't get away with that now. You couldn't have picture day now. They get swarmed.
Oh, yeah.
But the other cards I do know that I had, and this is why I pray that they're somewhere in our house. I had basketball cards, and those were the long ones.
Yep.
The portrait like ones like a thumbnail would be now. Lou Alcindor, Oscar Robertson,
rookie.
Yeah. Lou Alcindor, Oscar Robertson was one that I remembered. I want to say Bill Russell, Dave DeBuscher. All those guys from the Knicks. And then I've seen a price on that Lou Alcindor card, and I'm like, dear God.
I'm bringing it up.
Oh, yeah. Don't, John. Don't.
No, okay.
I don't even want to know. How much?
Well, did you take care of your cards?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure like if I was they would be sitting in a bag or a box somewhere, and I'm sure if I was going to do that, they would be probably rated in the 4s or the 5s. But there's not a lot of stuff that's 9s or 10s now, anyway, is there?
No, not at all. So that's not bad. Looks like it's like a
yellow background.
Couple thousand is what I have for the rookie. My favorite story for the Kareem rookie is, Mike Keller had one.
Really?
And
hey, another unemployed radio guy.
We'll all be there eventually.
Eventually.
Kareem, he changed his name, and Heller scribbled out Lou Alcindor and wrote Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the card. He didn't keep it. I was like, that would have been the funniest card to have.
Okay. And again, that's when autographs were too, it was something that wasn't worth anything, right? The autograph for me, and I've got a bunch of autographs, and they're away in a box somewhere. But autographs to me were never anything that I would want to go get to make money on. Right? That was a memento of the moment. It was like,
you got it because it was cool. You wanted to have
it. When I was at this game, I've got a 1966 Notre Dame football game program, which is the year they won the national championship, signed by Coley O'Brien, who was the quarterback at the time.
Yeah.
And Terry Hanratty signed it. It's just sitting somewhere. But one that I did have was the Greater Milwaukee Open 1 year and 1 year only. I want to say was played at North Shore Country Club, and Arnold Palmer played. And I have the program signed by Arnold Palmer.
That's cool.
But Mike Keller story, just like Mike Keller, it was done on a Sharpie, and probably, I don't know, it's 13, 12, somewhere in there, 10, 11, 12 years old. You don't know any better. The Sharpie starts to fade. So I take a ballpoint pen and I draw in it to match the autograph, so you could still read the autographs.
you tried to, that's too bad.
And so, but the one that I would say, I've got a Jack Nicklaus hat that was signed, but the best one that I have is I have a virgin copy, never played, of Born to Run. Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run, signed by Clarence Clemens.
Who's Clarence Clemens?
His sax player. He's the guy that was on the cover with Bruce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have that, and that's starting to fade, and I don't know what to do with it. I've got a 50.
Don't write in over it.
No. It's a 1950s, and I have a 1953 Braves team ball.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's almost all faded. You can only read maybe 5 or 6 signatures on it. And Ernie Davis, Drew and I interviewed him at the Wisconsin Sports Hall of Fame. And Ernie Davis's dad played on that team.
Okay.
And he was a pitcher. And we were talking about it. And I said to him, I've got a 53 team ball. And a lot of the signatures are faded. But if your dad is on it, I'll give it to you. So I did. I had someone send it to him. Well, what am I going to do with it?
Nothing.
Really?
You're going to look at it, or you're going to put it somewhere, and you're going to be like, I think it's in the basement under the thing. Yeah.
That's exactly it. So I listened to you quite a bit, John.
Okay.
I listened to you quite a bit in the last couple of years, and I don't know how I got into it, but I have gone heavy into women's volleyball. And you, of course, are the voice of Wisconsin women's volleyball. How did you get that gig? When did you start getting into women's volleyball? And because when you said you were calling those games, and this is before I was into the sport, I said, how do you call volleyball? How do you do that? How do you call volleyball and make it interesting on the radio? But once you start watching it and then you listen to you can kind of visualize what's going on. How did you get into women's volleyball?
Yeah. So, working at iHeart back when they had employees, and, we got the Badgers contract, and they decided they wanted to do more for the Badgers contract. And they said, we're going to broadcast more volleyball games, and we need somebody to do it. Do you want to do it? And no hesitation. I'm like, yes, that's something I want to do. And I have no KB. I'd only been to like a high school volleyball game. That's I played it, in PE, as a fifth grader or whatever. So 2008 it started, and I just took it from there, and now it's 2025 and I'm still doing it. But
so 17 years.
Yeah. 17 years. Don't. And how do I do it? You just say what's happening. That's all. You just come up with...
Well, no, I mean, I wouldn't know how to do it, because it would be, all I know would be, okay, bump, set, spike, dig. There's you can't just call it the same way all the time. You got to have some sort of a flow to it, right? What are some of the other phrases that you
a dig is the same thing as she controls it, she retrieves it, she scoops it up, picked up, kept off the floor, kept alive, different, you just interchange those types of things. So I have a list of words that I keep with me just in case I keep saying the same thing over and over, and I'll just glance down and be like, okay, enough of that. It's time to say this. Like an attack, like she walloped it, she smashed it, she smacked it, she smashed it, she whatever. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but yeah, I mean, what you just said, that's how I felt in my first game. It's like, I was even told beforehand that you shouldn't say bump, set, spike. It's a pass, right. It's a set, and it's an attack or kill. Bump, set, spike was more of like, that's what you do when you're fifth grade. So I've never said spike. I've never said spike in 17 years. Now you'll say a bump set, because that just describes the type of set that the setter. Right. But you won't say like off a serve or off an attack. You won't say that, bumped up forward by so-and-so, just like dig goes to the right, or pass goes up to the middle, something like that. So, but you learn bump, set, spike is a no-go. At least that's what I was told.
Okay. And, Wisconsin obviously has had some great, has had a great program for the last several years. National champions. They were at the final. They made it to the Final Four this year. Unfortunate loss in that first semifinal after being up, and that was a little bit disappointing. But when someone, you talk to guys a lot in women's volleyball, and this has happened to me, and I'm sure it happens to you quite a bit. And I say, oh, I have to watch this volleyball game. And there's a bar that I go to that has 27 TVs or whatever. And I always have, if there's a good game on, I have the bartender put it on one of the TVs. And guys' tendency is they like to clown on it. A little bit. They're always making, oh, look at, they're all hot and they've got the outfits. It's like in the uniforms. And it's like, well, no, when someone starts kind of clowning on volleyball, what do you say to them? The casual fan or the guy that starts doing it. How do you explain it to them? It's like, dude, you're all wrong about this.
Thankfully I don't have that happen a lot, but I think I would say just like, take a second and watch, take a second, and better yet, if you have the opportunity to go watch it in person, because these are the most athletic players you have in D1, really. I mean, you can, the heights that some of these players and the skills that they have with their height as well. So like they can touch really, they can jump, so they can touch at a really high level. We had Anna Smrek. I think you mentioned Anna. She was 6'9".
She was like 6'9".
6'9". I mean,
that's scary.
You don't see that. And she could dunk. I mean, she could touch over 11 feet. So I would say just like watch it. It's fun. And I think it's more fun in some respects than watching men's volleyball, because in men's volleyball, I mean, they're touching way above that, their net's higher, but it feels like you have less rallies. You know what I mean? It's more boom, boom, done. Boom, 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 done. And in the women's game, you can boom, 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 survive. You great save off the end line, bring it back, keep going. And you have more excitement, I think, that way.
I think they dig and dive and sacrifice their body more in women's volleyball, going after balls, probably because it's not coming. I mean, I'm not saying it's not coming hard, because they hammer it. Some of these women can hammer it, but they have a better opportunity of getting to it. And that's the one thing that I've always said when I go, I love watching it, is because of the rallies, because they're extended.
Yeah. And it does come fast. So the thing that remember too, because ESPN had that, did you see this year where they had like the miles per hour on the serves and the attacks? I don't think they always have that, but they had that this year. And so attacks were like from 50 to 60 plus. Serves, if you're float serving, it's like 40. But you got to remember this. I think a lot of times, like in my head, I'm like, I think of somebody throwing a baseball, and that's nowhere close to a 100-mile-an-hour baseball throw. Well, no, it's not. It's a different thing, but it's also a lot closer. You know what I mean? Like they're standing like 15 feet away from a 60-mile-per-hour ball coming right at them.
So if you did the Little League conversion,
exactly,
like they do during a Little League pitcher, it's like they always show that the 12-year-old from 45 threw it at 72, which is equal to a 98 pro fastball.
Yes, exactly. So so if you get some idea of just how hard and fast these attacks are coming, I mean, yes, it's from 50 to 60 miles per hour on an attack, but it's coming at you and you don't have the space. It's right there on top of you, 15, 20 feet away from it. So it's, it comes really fast at 60 miles per hour.
When you first started calling for Wisconsin, and Wisconsin women's volleyball wasn't really on the map at all at that time, necessarily, at least maybe within college volleyball, but not necessarily within the public's domain, if you will. Who was the first person that you called that you went, okay, this volleyball program is going to officially be a problem for somebody else?
Well, when I started in 2008, so the Badgers had lost the national championship in 2000. I wasn't around for that. They had made the tournament up until 2007. I started in 2008, and they didn't make the tournament until Kelly got here in 2013.
That would be Kelly Sheffield.
Kelly Sheffield, yeah. So it'd been a few years of them just trying to find their identity again. Was there I'm not sure if there was a player that came through, but as soon as 13 happened, and then all of a sudden they get to the tournament, like, oh, this is awesome, this is fun. Then they start winning in the tournament, and I had never experienced. I was like, this is crazy. And then they're going to the Final Four, and then they're playing in the national championship match, and they lost. It was so much fun, but that was probably the year I was like, oh man, Wisconsin, if they can do this with this team right here, which was Kelly, none of Kelly's players, what can they do? And what they've done is, from that point, they've made 6 Final Fours and won a national championship. So it's been crazy.
Did you get a ring?
I've got. You want me to go get some rings? I got some rings upstairs. Yeah. I've got a ring for every year except for 13. I never got a ring in 13 for whatever reason.
Wow.
But yeah. So
the only for up until 2003, probably for about 8 or 9 years, I was the in-arena PA guy for the Admirals.
Yeah.
When the 2004 schedule comes out, and there was a lot of weeknight games, and I was doing morning radio, and then I was also doing a regular day job, so my days were insanely long. And I got a lot of night games in 2003. And I said to, Mike Wojciechowski of the Admirals, I go, hey, you know what? I'm going to have to I just can't do this. It's just going to kill me. And I Wally pipped myself, because the guy that took over was the son of the longtime announcer. So it's great that he's got the job, and he's very, very good. But 2004, the year I quit, they won the Calder Cup, and I would have had a ring. I could have gone out and lied in bars to people. I could have worn that big ring out. Oh yeah, I played out. But that was my only chance at a ring.
You Wally pipped yourself. Yeah,
I did. I Wally pipped myself. So people that are watching volleyball, what is one rule, I guess, or strategy or something that the casual fan would look at and go, wait, what just happened? Because I'm used to gym class volleyball where it's rotate. I still haven't figured out that. And is it the libero? Is it the libero or the libero? Which is it?
It's both.
Is it
both? Yeah, I go with libero. I think most people say libero.
Yeah. So what's that role on the team? They can't go past the back line. I mean, how does that work?
So that's probably the one thing that I think confuses most people if they're just getting into volleyball, and they're like, well, why is she wearing a different color jersey? What's going on there? She's just a defensive substitute that can come in, and it doesn't count against your subs for a set.
Okay.
So she can just come in for whomever, and she plays exclusively in the back row. She can go in the front row. She just can't do certain things in the front row, like set overhand or something like that. But it's just basically a player that you can use is, a defensive player that you can always sub in and not get a sub counted against you. So, and they just signify that with a different jersey. But that's probably the number one thing is, why is that person wearing a different colored jersey?
Okay, and so then, they're defensive specialists.
Yeah.
And that is, who's the girl on the team? Charlie Furbringer.
She's a setter.
Right? Okay, she's a setter. She's not a libero. And then they had to play, didn't they beat Stanford to go to the Final Four, and her dad is the coach at Stanford?
No, so they beat Stanford in the Sweet 16. Then they beat
Sweet 16.
Yeah, then they beat Texas to get to the Final Four. But at Stanford, Allie Andrew, who's a middle blocker, her sister played on Stanford. Maybe that's what you were thinking of. So Lizzie Andrew played for Stanford. So it was the Andrew sisters going 1v1 there in the middle.
Okay, I thought I saw that her dad was a coach somewhere.
Well, her dad is a coach too, but not for Stanford or Texas. Her dad coaches the pro team in Madison. Love Madison.
Oh, okay.
So here's what's funny. So Lauren Carlini is an assistant coach. She was a former setter. She's an assistant for Wisconsin. So she is working close with Charlie because they were both setters. And Carlini plays for Love Madison, which is coached by Charlie's dad. So Carlini is getting coaching from Charlie's dad and then coaching Charlie. So
okay.
Yeah, so that's probably what you're thinking of. So yeah, so Love Madison is a pro team. They're in their second League One volleyball, but they call it Love because LOVB became Love. And yeah, so he coaches Love Madison.
That seems to be pretty popular. The women's pro league, it seemed to catch on a lot more quickly. And in Madison, they put a lot of people in the field house for that game, or in the
they played a couple for the Love games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they played a couple at the field house. They're playing all at the Alliant Energy Center.
Okay.
The rest of the season last year and all this season will be at the Alliant Energy Center. I think they get a few thousand. Yeah, but there's two pro leagues right now. So there's Major League Volleyball and League One Volleyball, and they both exist right now. And I'm not sure how that's going to look in 5 years, but I would think at some point maybe they merge. Seems like a likely scenario.
It's like the Live Golf Tour and the PGA. They're stealing the great players. Now, when does that season start? Because I did catch a little bit of it. And they're not traveling a lot though, are they?
There's six teams in League One. They're expanding to California and Los Angeles and Minneapolis and somewhere else. I don't remember, but they're expanding in the next couple of years. There's 6 teams, Houston, Atlanta, Madison, Omaha, Salt Lake City, and the other team that I can't remember right now. Yeah, so they play at Alliant, and they were on ESPN Plus. So yeah, it's fun. I think it's cool to have a different option for these players, because usually they're just like, okay, see ya, I'm going to go to Italy. And then
is Italy big in professional volleyball?
Yeah, pretty much Italy, Turkey, overseas, and then you never see them again. So I think it's cool that, for fans, they can still keep track of their players. As a kid growing up, you always watched college hoops, and then you watch the guy playing the NBA,
Right.
That was the way it happened. And so for fans watching volleyball, they're like, okay, now I have no access. I mean, I have the internet, but there's not a lot of coverage of the Italian leagues. You could go pretty diehard if you wanted to, but I think it's cool to be in the States for sure.
Well, there'll probably be a channel for that before you know it. I'm sure that the way things are expanding. But there's I've kind of latched on at some very good players, and a couple that have since moved on are both playing professionally, who I kind of got into watching last year was Anna DeBeer at Louisville, who was a solid player, great player. And then libero was Lexi Hernandez at Nebraska, who's like a legend.
Rodriguez.
Lexi Rodriguez. I have a friend named Lexi Hernandez. Okay. Lexi Rodriguez, and she's playing professionally. But there's 2 players now that I saw this year that just absolutely blew me away. And one of them was London Weejay. She's like a sophomore at USC.
Yep.
And you want to talk about someone who gets some height. And now you get to call that because you're calling in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And she's only like 5'10".
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she's got some hops to her.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, she crushed us. USC beat Wisconsin this year. And she had a big match, like 24 kills. Lexi Rodriguez, it's funny. Like, I went to a few Love games last season, and 2 of them were against Omaha. So Lexi Rodriguez is on that team. She is immensely popular. Like, that is what every kid there is trying to get a picture or an autograph from, is Lexi Rodriguez. Really? Yeah. And it was a weird thing where she got put on Omaha because, here's the other thing. In Love, they don't draft. They just try to they assign players to try to make a balanced league right now. At least that's the strategy right now. I don't know if that changes in the future.
Do they keep them close to home too?
They usually do.
Wisconsin players on the Madison team.
Usually, although if that were the case, Mimi Collier and Carter Booth should be playing for Love Madison this year, and they're not, which is a big bummer, I think, for a lot of Badger fans because they probably wanted to see that. But they usually try to keep them together like that. But no, she didn't play a lot. That's the thing. Like, she was behind an Olympian libero. So she like barely played and is like probably the most popular player in that league. Yeah.
And the other one that blew me away, and they didn't make it. I think I watched them in the Elite Eight. I don't think they made it to the Final Four, was Kendall Bashir at Cal Poly.
Oh, geez. Okay. Let me bring her up.
Okay. So I know, I know a volleyball player that you don't.
Yeah,
I didn't know that familiar with. Look at her serve. You have to go watch her serve because it's like I almost want to see her serve live, because the first time I was just watching a casual game, she served and I was like, "What the hell was that?"
Let me see.
And as they went on in the game, whoever the female analyst was, who was an Olympian, and I don't recall who was calling the game, went out and they did one of those interviews. They featured a player and they were talking about her serve, and she went to try and return a couple serves, and she was an Olympian. Granted, she's a lot older now. When she was done, she showed her forearms and she had welts.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, this is just crazy. When you get a chance, go watch this, because your jaw will drop.
I'm watching right now. So Grace Egan plays for Wisconsin. She has a similar jump topspin serve where she'll toss it high in the air and bang it over, just like Bashir does. There was a player at Penn State in 2013, Micah Hancock. She played on the national team for the USA as well. She's a setter, and she was a lefty that did that. And KB, she was unreturnable. In fact, the Badgers were almost going to go to a 5th set against Penn State in the national championship in 2013. They were ahead, I think it was 23-21. And she came back and bang, 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 couple aces, a couple points, and they won the national championship 4 points later, or whatever it was. And so, yeah, that jump topspin, I want to see what that's like. I've never stood back there because honestly, I would be afraid, KB. I would get hit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this thing was coming like a rocket, and it was maybe 6 inches over the net. I mean, there wasn't a lot of room. It wasn't, it wasn't the old underhand beach volleyball serve that the fat guys do at all. No. And I mean, she had to throw it 15 feet in the air.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible.
I don't know how the coordination it takes to connect on that, but then to connect at such a high rate that your coach says, yes, keep doing that serve, and you're not hitting it out of bounds, that you're getting it in a lot. That's crazy. Not a lot of people jump topspin like that in the game. Most are just little float serves that kind of wiggle like a knuckleball.
I knew that you would do that because I used to play when I was in my 20s. We'd go to the Y at lunch, and I used to play a lot of hardcore volleyball with a lot of guys that played. And, I had no hops at all. I could set and I could serve, and they taught me how to serve. You do that to make that wiggle because the ball is so light, and it's where the nozzle is. And where you position the nozzle on the ball and where you hit it, that'll make it move. There's that little weight that makes it do that.
So that would be tough enough, I think, to pick up. But man, I couldn't. I do want to get. I also want to stand back there when someone attacks. Like just to see it. But once again, KB, I am genuinely concerned that I will get a bloody nose or a concussion. Like,
it's got to be.
I don't.
When you're calling the game, are you right down on the sideline, or are you
sometimes
up a little bit? Sometimes
it depends. Yeah.
How much faster is the game?
Like, what do you mean?
How much faster is the game when you're watching it live versus when you see it on TV?
Oh, I think it looks way faster. Like, especially if you're right there courtside, like you can't begin to imagine just the amount of like reaction and like for a setter, for example, like they're reacting in the moment, but then they are analyzing what the best set is and where to go and who, and it's all within like a second. It's like boom, boom. Now the decision has to be made or you are screwed. So I think the decision making, and it is. You'd be amazed at just how high the players jump, how hard those attacks are. I mean, there are some you're like, well, no one could absolutely get that. It's just at the right spot, the right angle. It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm totally into it. I'm totally grooving on it, and I have YouTube TV, and when you set to record a volleyball, it records everyone that ever plays. So I probably have 700 that I can go back and watch now. But anyway, Jon, thanks for joining me on KB's Unemployed show. I'm glad to see that you're employed now.
Well, kind of.
Happy for you.
I've got 4 part-time jobs, KB.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how we do it.
I've got this, and then when spring rolls around, I'm going to go be a starter at a golf course.
Are you serious? That sounds awesome.
That is hosted USGA championships.
Are you going to name it, or are you just?
Yeah, I'm going to go at Aaron Hills. I'm going to go be a starter there. So I know the guys. I know the guys that are good friends that are the director of golf and the director of golf emeritus. So when I was sitting on the couch one night when I got after I was relieved of my duties, and I was just sitting on the couch, and I shot one of them a text. I said, "Hey, do you have any jobs for an old man who can't carry 2 bags 10 miles?" There's no way I'm caddying on that course. No and way. He goes, "You could be a starter." And I just texted a long thing back that just said, "Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to Aaron Hills, home of 5 USGA championships, most recently the U.S. Women's Open. I'd like to remind you that you might have a more enjoyable day if you play the tees commensurate with your handicap. I think it'll be more fun, and you will get the same type of a playing experience that you would as a professional golfer from the back." I say all that stuff, and it had to be about 3 paragraphs long, and he just sent back, "Hired." So I'll be going out to do that. So I'll have 2 part-time jobs. I've got this and I've got that. But Jon, again, thank you very much for joining me. You're your first guest. I've only done this for 2 weeks. You're my first guest on KB's Unemployed show. And as a guest, I don't have anything to. Yeah, I haven't had any guests yet.
Oh wow, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
I've got some friends. I've got a friend of mine who's gonna be a guest. He's a screenwriter. He wrote Godfather of Green Bay, which is a great movie. A guy who's a genius, wrote that, and then wrote in a love scene for himself with Lauren Holly. Genius man. He wrote It's a Guy Thing too. And so he lives up in Marinette. So he's going to join me one of these days. Cato Kalin's going to be coming on, a dear friend. Will be coming on. And so I'm just going to do interviews with friends of mine because I'm unemployed. And then I can reconnect with people I haven't connected with in a long time and ask them how they're doing.
That's awesome.
It's good to see, Jon. I listen to you all the time, and I'm glad that women's volleyball, I'm going to try and get over to some games. I definitely want to get over to some of those love games, and it's easy for me to do because I got nothing else going on. So, but I'm glad to listen to you, and thank you very much for joining me today as my first guest. And I'll send you something. I don't know what it is, maybe a Starbucks gift card or something like that for being a guest.
I'm honored to be your first guest, KB. Thank you.
And if I find a Ken Griffey rookie card, I'll sell it to you at a bargain basement price.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for the 89 upper deck. Thanks, KB.
Okay, thanks, Jon. Have a good day. Jon Arias, right there, Jon Arias from He formerly, I'm going to switch my camera here so I can look this way. We're going to add myself to the stage here. Jon Arias, who was formerly, I didn't even get to the fact that he made it down to the finals of the Dan Patrick Meat Rap. His Meat Rap almost won him a Dan Patrick Show award, made it down to the finals. But he did not get there. I did not have that conversation with him. But if he joins me again, I will. Let's see how Kenneth is doing. We'll go to the Kenneth cam. And there, Kenneth has moved a little bit. And he's kind of out of camera range, but it looks like he's napping. He should be getting up in about, you'll see him move in about 8 minutes. I don't know what it is with dogs, and especially with pit bulls, right? The way a pit bull works is people think that they do have a bad rap. People think that they're vicious dogs. I thought they were a vicious dog until maybe I'll have a pit bull person on one of these days. I think I'll do that. Well, anyway, I thought they were vicious dogs. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, he gets a little uppity, but his bark is worse than his bite. He's just big. He's about 75 pounds. But they are the neediest, whiniest, biggest babies you would ever possibly meet in an animal. And he knows exactly when I take him for a walk in the morning, and he comes and he sits by my desk and just whimpers incessantly. There, Kenneth is moving. I wonder if he's here. He probably heard me say his name. And he just whimpers incessantly. And the other thing is, it's as you can see, he's taking a look around. It's 3:53, and he eats at 4. And their sense of time during the day is amazing because he eats at 4 o'clock. So he is going to come here and be looking for his dinner at 4. He will not get it because I usually don't get done here till about 4:15. But the way they are is if it's 4 o'clock, they're looking to eat. If it's 4:01, you're an hour late. If it's 4:02, you're 5 hours late. They're just amazing at their innate sense of timing. But that brings us to the point in the show where it is one of my favorite points in the show, and that is what we are going to do is it is going to be KB's top 5 all-time worldwide. Yep, KB's top 5 all-time worldwide. And today's KB's top 5 all-time worldwide is going to be my top favorite guitars. My top favorite guitars that I own. Now, as I explained earlier in the show, I own 15 different guitars, which includes a mandolin and a lap steel, but I haven't played the lap steel or the mandolin in ages. But now that I'm unemployed, I could pick that mandolin up, work for it an hour a day, and I could be the next Ricky Skaggs or the next Marty Stewart if I really put my mind to it. But I have collected a lot of guitars. So I'm going to run down the list of my top 5 all-time worldwide favorite guitars that I own. Okay, so we're going to come in and we're going to start with number 5. And number 5 is a guitar. It's a W. Paul Jarowski KB custom guitar. There's a backstory to this. There's a friend of mine, Paul Jarowski, Bill Jarowski, actually, and he lives out in Muskego. And he builds guitars out of this wood. It's called timeless timber, and it's this wood that was sunk in the bottom of Lake Superior. And he's the only guy that has the rights to make guitars out of this wood. And this wood was sunk on ships going back to England, like in the 1700s. So those trees were 200 years old before they got cut down, and then they've been in the bottom of Lake Superior for another 400 years or thereabouts. So this wood is 600 years old. And what happens when they're in the bottom of Lake Superior is there are like microbes that go into the guitar and into the wood, and it eats out impurities in the wood. So there are like these little microscopic chambers, if you will. And these chambers create this acoustic resonance because there's air and the wood is vibrating, and the sound is absolutely amazing. So I wrote some ads for him. In exchange, he said, I'll build a guitar for you at cost. Well, the cost of this guitar was about $1,800, now about $1,200. Okay, but the cool thing is I've got to design it all on my own, and you can't really see it here. And I didn't do a lot of close-ups, but there's like a channel here that goes underneath between the two bridges that cuts through the guitar, so it's like another sound hole, if you will, on an electric guitar. But I said, so I said to him, I go, can you customize the neck? And he said, yeah. So what I had him do was, as you can see, the neck at the 12th fret has my initials, and the fret markers on the fingerboard are all, and you really can't tell with the color, but that's all green abalone. So the neck markers are all green, which is very, very cool. Problem with the guitar is that it's got humbucker pickups on it, and that's, you know, serious heavy metal playing, and that's not really my style of playing. But I mean, I got such a deal on it, I wasn't going back, and I wasn't going to tell him to change it. But that is my number 5 favorite guitar, and believe me, I've got some good ones. Coming in at number 4, my number 4 favorite guitar is my 1998 Fender Teleacoustic. Excuse me. This is really an interesting guitar. In the sense that when I first started playing with a band, The Crisis, which is the band that I had when I worked on the morning show, this was the primary guitar that I used. And under the bridge, it has a piezo pickup. So, and then it's got a neck pickup, as you can see. So with the F hole that's on the left side, you can roll from one pickup to the other. So without changing guitars, it can sound like an acoustic guitar, and then it can also sound like an electric guitar. So all I would have to do would be that roll those knob, or the far back knob, roll it one way or the other to change the sound of the pickup, and it would change the complete sound of the guitar. So that is my number 4 favorite guitar. It's the oldest electric that I have, and it's very cool because if you get up close to it, it's all weather cracked. And my son, when he is, I was upset when it was getting weather cracked, and I'm like, well, you know, you want a guitar to be kind of beat up anyway. Make it look like it was used, it's game used, right? And he knocked, it was laying on the floor in the basement, and I had a Stratocaster lay in a guitar stand, and he knocked the Stratocaster over, and the head of the Stratocaster fell straight down on the face of the body of this guitar. So if you were to get up close to it, right to the left of that bridge are 6 small circles in a row where the tuning pegs and you can see what the tuning pegs look like on the top of the Fender Teleacoustic, where those tuning pegs went down, slammed, and did surface cracks in the varnish. So it's got a little bit of, it's got some life to it, if you will. It's got some stories, some backstories with it. But that is my number 4 favorite guitar. My number 3 favorite guitar is my Takamine EF341 SC. This Takamine is like a road horse. It is the Bon Jovi guitar, basically. It's the one that he uses, although I don't have the Notre Dame Leprechaun on there as he does, because his son went to Notre Dame. But I do not have that on the guitar, but I do have the EF341 SC. It's a road horse. I've had that thing for about 20 years. That was when I was going out and playing out. That was my primary guitar. I had to have the whole thing recently almost completely rebuilt. Had to have it refretted, had to have the bridge was pulling off. So I had to have that re-glued, and then I had to have a new preamp put into it. So That is the 341 SC, but I play that constantly because you can just beat on it all day long and not worry about it. My number 2 all time, top 5 worldwide favorite guitars that I own is my Fender Telecaster 52 reissue. It's the Springsteen guitar, basically. It looks like a Springsteen guitar. I like the Telecaster. I like the sound of a Telecaster. I'm kind of lean more toward that country sound, but you can get a good a gritty tone out of it. But as guitar players that are good guitar players will tell you, a telly don't lie. And you can't make a lot of mistakes on that, which is why I don't play a lot of leads, because I am not a lead player, as Mark Knopfler so eloquently put it. I am strictly rhythm. I have no interest in making that baby cry or sing at all. But that Fender Telecaster reissue, I kind of wish I would beat that up a little bit more. That's still in pretty good shape. I haven't played electric in a long, long time out, every once in a while, but not like where it's my number 1 guitar that I play for most of the night when I play a show. And then my top 5, my number 1, the top 5 all-time worldwide guitars that I own is a 1994 Martin D28. And you can see that's getting nice and yellow. Because it's a spruce top. When you buy those, they're almost white, the white spruce. And as it ages, it gets nice and yellow. And that's had to have some work done. That had to have the bridge re-glued as well. And I put a pickup in there years and years and years ago. And I still use that one. Well, I use that for recording a lot of times. I don't use it playing out as much, but I started playing out. A friend of mine, Jansen Press, who is a great guitar player and plays lead for Mary Carl's, and he's played with Angie Aparo, a couple of other great artists. He moved to France to work for Gibson. When I recorded some stuff in Nashville, he did the production on it, and I had that guitar with me, and he goes, "This is a sweet guitar." And I said, yeah, but I just use it for recording stuff and I don't play it out. And he goes, "Why not?" And I said, "Well, I don't want to ruin it." He goes, "That's why you buy guitars, to play them." And so after he said that, I started playing the guitar out. But the D28, and my wife knows that Martin D28 is my prized possession. And she has said to me, she goes, you will know when I am ready to leave you, because you will wake up one day and your Martin will be gone. So that is exactly how I know I'm in trouble and I'm not coming back home and my stuff will be on the porch. That Martin will be sold and the money will be in her bank. Guitars that I own. And finally, I just want to get to, of course, the last thing that I like to do, and I always like to close the show with, is what color is the sky on your planet? From KB's Unemployed show, where I find something that's happening in the news, I share it with you, and then I say, what color is the sky on your planet? Well, here we go. Today, it is going to be an audio visual. What color is the sky on your planet? Because I saw an announcement that David Lee Roth is coming to play at the BMO Harris Pavilion on the Summerfest grounds. I'm not sure if he's during Summerfest or what have you, but he has been making the rounds. He's become quite the viral sensation, and it's not because how good he is. Actually, quite to the contrary. And to give you some perspective of why he is making the rounds, I prepared a nice little video for you to take a listen to of the great David Lee Roth, then and now. And this starts with David Lee Roth, and I want you to take a listen. David Lee Roth singing Panama, the Van Halen hit off of 1984. What's that sound? Here she comes, oh, blasting top down. Hot shoe, burning down the avenue. Model citizen. What's that sound? Here she comes, oh, blasting top down. So all I can say about that is to David Lee Roth, who has decided to go out on tour again. It might be one of those where you don't want to go out on tour, man. You don't have it anymore. You were great. I love the early Van Halen stuff. I know that is very divisive, that people love the early Van Halen or they hate the new Van Halen, and they love Sammy Hagar or hate David Lee Roth. Nobody likes Gary Cherone. Nobody. I've never heard anyone say, I really liked the Gary Cherone Van Halen. But to David Lee Roth, who's embarking on a tour, all I can say to you is, what color is the sky on your planet? Let us remember you the way they were. So before we go, we're going to take a nice little check in. There's Kenneth. He is not eating. He is not ready to eat yet, just staring out the window on the Kenneth cam. But once again, I'd like to thank you for joining me on KB's Unemployed show. I'd like to thank Jon Arias for coming on and talking about being unemployed, and then what he does now is a part-time job, which is calling women's volleyball for UW-Madison. I do have guests lined up. Tomorrow, I might have a guest on tomorrow. I'm not sure if I will. I'm still waiting to hear back. But tune into tomorrow's show. It happens at 3:00 because the United States government just released their list. And we're going to run down this list. And this is God's honest truth. This is a government document. The United States government has released their list of the top 25 things, or the top 20 things people put in their butts in 2025. The top items they found in people's butts in 2025. And that will all be coming up on the show tomorrow. So thank you very much for joining me here on KB's Unemployed show. I'm still unemployed tomorrow, so I'll have more unemployed stuff to talk about. And thanks for joining us. And if you like it, subscribe, pass it around. It's on YouTube. You can go catch other episodes. I'll be putting some clips on, and I appreciate the support. I appreciate you watching. I'm learning how to do this. And who knows? Maybe one of these days I'll get, 293. That's amazing. I want to thank you guys. Thank you very much. 293 people watching right now. That is a big number for me. And but I would like to thank you for coming, and hopefully you'll be back tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow, the top list of the top 23, so top 20 things, according to the U.S. government, that people put up their butts in 2025. Until then, as I always would say before, make good choices.